Good morning, and welcome to today's webcast, Improve Methods and Reduce Risk with Lean Office Strategies. Before we begin, I'm going to play a brief housekeeping video.
Welcome, and thanks for joining. We're pleased to present our continuing professional education webcast series. Before we begin, please keep the following in mind. You can customize how you view our presentation and interact with the presenter. For better viewing, close all other applications and turn up your speaker volume. You can adjust window size and placement or enter full screen mode using the controls at the top right of the window or dragging the bottom right-hand corner to resize. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a series of icons that relate to a different aspect of our session. You can download a PDF of today's slides from the Slide Deck and Handouts widget. You can ask questions by typing in the Q&A window and clicking Submit. We'll do our best to answer all questions or follow up via email. If you experience technical difficulty, refresh your browser by hitting the F5 key. Today's session offers 1 CPE credit. To receive credit, you must meet the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy requirements. You must attend at least 50 minutes of the session and respond to at least 75% of polling questions. To participate in the polls, please check the button next to your answer within the slide window and click Submit. We'll track your progress and alert you when you've earned CPE credit. You can then click the certificate icon in the CPE Progress widget and download your CPE certificate. Don't worry if you can't download your CPE certificate today. We'll email you a copy in 2 weeks. If attending this webcast in a group, you must complete our group CPE attendance sheet, available in our Slide Deck and Handouts widget to receive credit. Please have all group members sign it and send only 1 sheet per group. CPE credit can only be awarded to participants registered as themselves and isn't available for participants who view the on-demand version. This presentation is not legal, investment, or accounting advice. We encourage you to seek the counsel of a professional service provider to apply this content to your specific circumstances.
With that, I'm pleased to introduce today's presenters. From Moss Adams, Steve Fineberg, partner, and from ETA Consulting, Rishi Malhotra, partner. Steve has provided internal audit, enterprise risk management, SOC and IT compliance, and management consulting services since 2003. He's developed deep, relevant experience performing business process and information technology control reviews across multiple industries. Rishi specializes in strategy and operation excellence consulting and has over 20 years of strategic and tactical Lean, Six Sigma, business process, and manufacturing leadership experience. With that, I'll turn it over to Steve to get the presentation started.
Perfect. Thank you, Chad. Good day, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. Let's just start with giving you a bit of a webinar at a glance. You know, we had a previous webinar on Lean, and it was a little bit more at a higher level. And I think some of the feedback that we had gotten was that people wanted some tactical responses in terms of how they can improve their systems and how to improve and implement Lean for their particular corporation. What the situation is, if you're an executive and you know what Lean is, you want it. And we're going to talk about why wouldn't you want to grow your company and solve problems internally, but there are some complications involved with that, and this is what this webinar is going to get at. First of all, there are complications with human behavior. Inspiring people is hard, coaching people is hard, and as you're making into change management, CapEx can often be a challenge as well. If you need to implement a new application or implement a new system to make changes, again, there can be resistance to spending as well. Learning Lean and saving money can be a challenge as well as you implement and create the cultural changes that are needed. And then empowering people to decide and make decisions can be a challenge as you release control and empower your employees to help make decisions. So the natural questions, especially in change management, is, okay, I've made changes. How do I make them stick? And then to make these changes, how do I find the time for employees to engage in the self-empowerment that these operations entail? And then how do I start the journey to a Lean office? And then how do I get buy-in up and down the chain? Today, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about resolution, I have with me a black belt sensei, Rishi, which he'll get into some interesting tidbits about lean and how you can apply it to your specific office. But another thing to consider is a lot of folks, when they think of lean and Six Sigma, they think of strictly manufacturing. We're going to talk a little bit how it's manufacturing plus other business operations. And we're going to talk about how you can establish your own lean office through leveraging your internal hires, through conducting Kaizen events, and through some upskilling and targeting as far as KPIs and improving the processes that you generate. We're here to inspire your company to adopt the lean methodology and discuss with you how we can facilitate growth without additional CapEx or additional manpower. We want to share the power of empowerment to help you solve problems and show how you can save money by using lean, including leveraging internal resources to help you. So intrigued by lean? I know I am, and I want to give you a quick 1-minute overview, a refresh before we get into some of the details. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with lean, it's been around for over 80 years. In the 40s, Toyota brought lean to the forefront in a highly competitive, capital-intensive industry with razor-thin margins, turning Toyota into a success. The effect of lean is that it helps to build trust and transparency to empower your employees. It'll increase the employee engagement and capability of those employees. It'll help reduce costs while creating creative problem-solving solutions that don't impact CapEx usually, and improve the efficiency of processes by reducing waste. And it'll increase revenue without investing additional capital. The mantra of lean as itself is a famous lean diplomat indicated that easier, better, faster, cheaper. That is the mantra of lean, and it's what we'll cover today. Continuing on this idea of what is Six Sigma, again, process improvements. We want to talk about performance by systematically removing waste and variation. So process improvement leads to faster delivery and lower costs, which in turn leads to higher customer satisfaction. We want to talk about quality improvement, reducing variation and eliminating defects, which also affects risk management. We want to talk about cost reduction. If you can identify and eliminate areas of waste that can lead to significant cost savings, and those cost savings can be passed on to customers through improved quality and the efficiency of the manufacturing of whatever the good or service. Employee engagement. We keep talking about how employee engagement is so important, and it involves cross-functional teams across the organization, which will build engagement. Additionally, there's this element of strategic planning where we align these processes so that your efforts align with the strategic goals of your organization. And the goal, of course, is to increase profitability. Again, easier, better, faster, cheaper. And as I mentioned, frequently lean is associated with manufacturing processes, which would make sense to reduce defects, eliminate waste, improve efficiencies. But also it affects supply chain. Lean Six Sigma can be used to streamline supply chain processes from procurement and inventory management to distribution and delivery. And it's true also with customer service. You can improve customer services by reducing the time it takes to resolve customer complaints, improving the accuracy of order fulfillment, or enhancing the customer experience of a retail environment. It's also very effective in human resources. Recruitment, onboarding, employee training, all of these can be optimized using Lean Six Sigma. And this could reduce the time it takes to fill vacancies, improve the effectiveness of your training programs, or streamline your onboarding process as well. One of the areas that I find most enhanced and interesting is in the finance and accounting area, where lean can be used to enhance the efficiency of financial processes, such as streamlining invoice processing, expense reporting, and budgeting, but also eliminating waste and other activities, such as financial analysis, operational planning, and process improvement. IT is also a very key area as you can reduce downtime, improve system performance, and streamline development process. One area that we as a firm are very specialized is in our healthcare lean practice. What we're talking about today is more of the industry agnostic, industry general lean process. We have very specialized healthcare folks, and if you're in healthcare, we're happy to talk to you about the work that they do and lead you into their sphere of work, which is very impactful. Why adopt lean? Again, it's implementation focus as opposed to integration focus. So you have a finite fixed application of something that immediately provides improvement. As I keep alluding to, there's really typically no CapEx involved. You typically do not have to buy a new application or machine to implement the changes that you determine. And it makes life easier for all. Really, essentially, when you involve lean, it's a methodical, cultural change that comes with a set of tools developed to make a quick and change, efficient and sustainable and enjoyable activity. And then the main thing is, I keep saying, the lean activity really empowers your employees to try out their improved ideas and positively influence your environment. And the empowerment and alignment brings dramatic results very quickly. So today, we'll talk about employees and lean. And first thing, that the key element is getting buy-in. We start the process with charters so that we identify the objectives so we can identify the process to improve. The key element is participation as employees develop and deploy their own solutions with assistance from our facilitators or senseis. Ownership, employees present their work and forecast to leadership, thereby empowering them and developing that cultural change to implement their own changes. And also an element is continuous learning for employees with an interest. We or other organizations offer an opportunity to upskill with green and black belts training, either on campus or on site for you. Next step is, Rishi, why don't you take us through a little bit about the results-oriented Kaizen events and what that looks like?
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for that introduction, and good day to everyone. So how we work. This is, I think Steve started talking about Kaizen events. These are very high-impact events, result-oriented, process-oriented events where we meet as a group. So we'll come over, work with your employees, and before we do that, the empowerment we were talking about, the charter creation and getting buy-in, 3 weeks prior to Kaizen events, we create what's expected, what problem are we trying to solve, whether it is throughput, whether it is cycle time, whether that is lead time, whether it's a quality issue we are trying to resolve. But whatever that thing is, agreement from executives, agreements from the team is obtained by using a charter, which is typically 3 weeks prior. And the reason we have this time involved, this time gap, is to make sure all the logistics of the event are taken care of. Who are going to event? Do we need any information before the event? Do we need to collect any data, stuff like that? And once we go through these events, Monday morning of the following week, you have a new process. And typically, all these improvements are done without CapEx with your people, and therefore the buy-in is a lot easier. Instead of telling someone what to do, the people are doing these things, and change management becomes a lot easier. So how we work? So it's typically 3 to 5 days, depending on the process and depending on the scope. Team members, the people who work the process, are the ones making these decisions, these changes. As you can see through these pictures, we map the current process first. That is typically Monday. Then on Tuesday, we focus on the future state, on what the process would look like Monday onwards. When we are doing the current state throughout this process, especially during the current state, we map the pain points. That's the pain of operators or people, managers are having with the process. And so Wednesday, we make sure that if the future state was not able to resolve any pain point, what additional stuff do we need to do to resolve that pain? And Thursday is implementation, and Friday is the presentation to the stakeholders to compare what was stated in the charter to what was delivered. And almost always, these things, we reduce cycle times by 90%, reduce space required by 50%. All those things are achieved and exceeded. And this is where I tell everyone, this is one tool, Kaizen events, where we overpromise and overdeliver. So these are some pictures from Kaizen events. And this is where you'll see true empowerment. This one is actually a quality process, this was a quality process. And how do we make sure that the quality processes are working efficiently and the people who are managing that process are empowered um, to make those changes? So before I get into the next slide, we're already getting questions. That is awesome. And the more questions we get, the better. And we will definitely answer all of them. And if not during the event, we will contact you during email, through email. And so please, two-way learning is a lot better than one-way learning. And please put in a lot of questions. So we already have 2 questions. So thank you for that. We will answer them. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the slide. So engaged team members, you'll see there's excitement because a lot of times what we hear is that someone else makes the change and we got to do it. And so if you see, this is a lot after 20 years. Sometimes people say that in 20 years, the first time I'm participating in making my own process a little better. And so there was a question about maintaining ethics in a small office environment. And so how would you do that? So lean, if you see, is a very visual, creates a very visual environment where transparency is key. So now if you see, you're putting the pain points on the wall. All your stickies, which has the blue stickies in this case, you're putting them on the wall. There's no hidden agenda. There is no one trying to hide something. Everybody's working together. So increasing transparency via visual factory, which is actually not covered in detail in this presentation, but that is one way to maintain ethics in a small or a big office environment, which of course leads to transparency, empowered employees, enhanced communication. 60% of data based on Google and data, 60% of all office issues are because of bad communication, and therefore when you get into a visual environment, all these problems are solved. So this one is detailed mapping. What we are trying to do during a Kaizen event is eliminating the waste in an event, in a process, through process mapping, identifying where the waste is and eliminating all that waste. So Monday morning, you literally have a process with minimized waste. And this is this is in a pharma company. Again, lean is for small companies, mid-sized companies, big companies, for companies that are small and wanting to get big, so on and so forth. And this has over 80 years. This is something that has lasted for almost a century, and it continues to impact companies. And so in this picture, what we're trying to show is the engagement of the people. And this is the entire, all the 4 walls, how people have been working together to make decisions on their own for the process. And this one actually was about reducing a 10-year research cycle to create medication to 6 years. How do we do that? So it applies to all industries, big, small, manufacturing, IT, everywhere, HR, etc. So that's the first question.
Awesome.
Chad?
Thank you, Rishi. Yeah, thank you, Rishi. And we have our first polling question of the day. Which process in your company would you start lean with? Either A, manufacturing, B, IT, C, sales, D, scheduling, E, HR, F, finance and accounting, or G, warehouse, or H, other. So if you select the answer on your screen and hit the submit button, your polling question will be recorded today. Do need to answer 3 of the 4 polling questions if you are looking for CPE credit for today's presentation. We'll give you about 10 to 15 seconds here to answer this first polling question. right, we're about at 85% of the attendees answered so far, so it'll be about 5 more seconds to answer this one. All right, let's advance on to the results.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you, Chad. So typically, what I would see is, a high manufacturing number, but I'm seeing, IT, some of the work, as an example, during the onboarding process. Now with remote work, how do laptops and systems, softwares get loaded on the computer, and how do you make sure the laptop is with the new employee, Monday or day one? How do you manage that process? And so many things, even in IT, in finance and accounting, how do you close a month within the first week, or maybe within the first day, or maybe on the last day if possible? And so fantastic. Warehouse is less, and but from a distribution standpoint, this is a very good distribution across all sections. So thanks for manufacturing and finance. Finance is typically lower, but this is very encouraging to see finance people right up there. Okay, so the next one. So how do you lean is a culture change, and how do you manage this culture change from on the long run? And lean office is one of the ways. Companies that do lean office, and we'll show you some results as well of implementing a lean office at companies. But this is where culture change is designed, culture change happens, and culture change sticks. And so what are the objectives of a lean office? So this would be like a chief lean officer, or a vice president of lean. And of course, these positions would be grown. You'd be taking someone from the company and possibly growing that person as well. Or you could have a person who can directly take charge of this office. But the training is critical to get to this, the mentoring, those kind of seeing, making sure the people of the lean office have a lean eye to see the waste and figure out ways to eliminate the waste. And so the objectives of a lean office typically are they take on the lean vision of the company and taking the strategic views for all activities across all office and manufacturing. So all improvement activities are created and directed through this office. They understand, this lean office understands what the customer demand is from a tax standpoint, and what value do they really want. So typically, the way I explain it is 1 million drill bits were sold last year in the US, and typically no one wanted a drill bit. Everyone wanted the hole that the drill bit creates. So while everyone wants something else, they buy something else. And so what's that value the people are looking for is what the lean office manages. Growing employees at one of the companies which has a lean office. Literally all the promotions, all the jobs, all the applications are based on the participation of the employees in the lean office activities, that is Kaizen events, suggestions, so on and so forth. And this creates and takes on the role of a servant leader, which provides the resources, removes the roadblocks, the interdepartment communication, barriers, so on and so forth, and provides air cover to people who are working on these fantastic ideas and are working on implementing the fantastic ideas. And so structure for lean office, if you're a single site company, you have one lean champion and several frontline enablers. And in a multi-site operation, you have a single site structure plus a corporate lean strategist. And it does not have to be one person, it could be 2 or 3. But from there, the Hoshin develops, and which goes down to all the other sites, and where the Hoshins are executed. And so typically culture change takes 3 years. And depending on the literature you read, it takes anywhere from 3 years to 10 years. But in the year one, it is upskilling the employees and running Kaizen events. Kaizen events, you're getting immediate results, and so those are very good to have. And again, this is based on zero capex. And second year, you have the lean strategy when the lean champion and the lean strategist, they start engaging and what the long-term strategy for the company is. And of course, in year three, customers and suppliers are involved as well, where the metrics and the KPIs, how do you make sure even the suppliers can get you their widgets on time, the raw materials, how do they make sure it's always good quality so that you don't have to inspect? And then, of course, after that, to their supplies as well. So it's a complete chain which improves. And of course, throughout the 3 years, at a minimum, the culture creation is happening, eliminating the waste from all the processes, and a culture of rapid return of investment without capex is created. So typical, what do we do? So long lead times are taken care of, long cycle times. How do you reduce them? If you have high inventory, you'd want to create a lean office to take care and maintain optimal levels, not high levels. Sales opportunities are missed. A lot of companies contact us because they know they have sales, but they don't know how to fulfill those sales. Not enough people. This is nowadays, we are hearing this from all our clients. And lean office would be the way to eliminate the waste and make sure you can do the work and even more work with the people you have. Okay, so I will answer that question. Can a lean office be implemented one department at a time? Absolutely. And so the trial run is with the first department. And then when people see the results, people start expanding that to other departments. But the coaching, so one advice I would have here is the coaching and the mentoring of the lean officers, the people who are participating, the lean leaders of the company. I think that should start day one, but the implementation of the lean office can definitely start with one department. Absolutely. So thank you for that question. And so not enough people, growth constrained by lack of capex. So if that's a problem you're having, which a lot of companies have, not all, but by a lot, I mean literally 90 plus companies of our clients, this is something you would definitely want to adopt. Extended month-end closes, and if employees, of course, if they come for a paycheck and nothing else, and we say we want to have all hands, we don't want to have all hands meetings, we want to have all hearts meetings. And so a lot of companies, some of our clients absolutely hit the morale of our, the last one we did was of our customer service department is low. And we did a lot of lean activities to get that up. Okay, looking for ways to start. So lean office, something great, something lovely, something which in our opinion, everyone should have. How do you start, right? And so is it possible to look at implementation better lean process without becoming a full or absolutely? I will, that I will answer in more detail in an email. That's a question from Deborah, and we will definitely answer that. So ways to start, green belt. This is something which is easy, and no one has to fight for the budget. And the reason is all HR departments have a training budget. And so without fighting for budgets and so on and so forth, this is something for 20, 25 people, get them green belt trained. And the purpose of that is to get everyone on the same page. So people are not confusing tag time and cycle time. People understand what waste is, what we are trying to do, etc. And one beautiful thing of the green belt is on day 4 of our green belt, we solve an actual problem the company is facing at a high level. So if that's a simulated Kaizen event, which typically happens over 5 days, but we simulate that over 1 day on the fourth day of the event of the green belt. And just that at one company, that was 4.09 million savings per year identified in the simulation. So irrespective of the budget and not available or using the human resource budget, that problem gets solved. And Monday morning you start. Of course it's at a higher level, so Monday morning it's very difficult to implement the entire thing. But the solutions. You can see that how you're going to get the 4.09 million savings per year in this case. And so that definitely helps, resolve the financial questions people have. And so training, of course, it helps secure buy-in and, sustain the improvement. So that's one way to start the green belt. To start a cultural change through Lean Office is via green belt. And so this is a case study with Bank of America, the CEO. This is, I think, 2002, I think, when he started. And what he did was, of course, he wanted organic growth. And so what he did was he himself got trained in the green belt. And what he did, so now that he understands what Lean is, what Six Sigma is, the second thing he did was, and I've heard a lot of stories about this case study, but he ensured that all his direct reports had, went through the green belt, understood the tools, could use a common language. And the expectation from the CEO to his direct reports was make sure you do that with your direct reports as well. And so he started that culture with himself, getting himself trained and making sure the second in line get trained as well. And when I saw this TED talk on how to start a movement, it's a 3-minute video. And I hope, please, screenshot this and please search for this. And this is about a shirtless dancing guy, and how he is, he's, I think, in a beach or close to a sea somewhere, and he's starting a movement of how do you involve everyone in his dancing. And so he talks about the leader first, needs to know what he's doing. In this case, he's dancing, but he starts calling for the followers. And what he says is that it's the followers that get the momentum going and not the leader. So when we had the first two leaders, all the other people, the employees, are following the follower and not the leader. And that's what the tipping point is to start a movement. And of course, he says how it is public, so it's hidden in some PowerPoint slides, and nurturing the followers as equals, so that it's about the movement and not about you. And so, this is a very fantastic, 3-minute video on how to start a movement. And looking back, that's what exactly the Bank of America CEO did. Okay, so how to secure buy-in? So this is how you start, and how do you secure buy-in? And so, if you're a company, that would like to experience Lean, so you have never done Lean prior, and you want to begin with that. Hey, let's experience something. Let's understand what it is. And so, a Kaizen event. It's a week-long event. Just get into that. And what you will notice is, in companies where we have done that, where let's say the VP or the director buys in, but other people have not, a lot of times what we get is, by the way, you're wasting your time here, Rishi. You are here, we have tried all this, it's never going to happen, etc. And in 5 days, they completely changed because they know Monday onwards, the people who are part of that process, of the financial process, of the HR process, of the legal process, of the IT process, whatever that process is, of a manufacturing process, they made those changes, and they are the ones who are seeing the headache eliminated. And so I always start with, hey, you have tried this for 10 years, for 20 years, it's not going to work. And after the end of 5 days, it is, wow, this is completely amazing. You're working as a team. I didn't know my colleagues had the pain. I did not know that I am causing the pain to my colleagues by doing X, Y, and Z. And when you're doing these events, it's very easy to demonstrate the ROI. 10:1 is a given without working hard during a Kaizen event. 50 is to 1, 100 is to 1. These are the kind of course, depends on the size of the company as well. But it's very easy to demonstrate an ROI and buy in when you have a 5-day Kaizen event. And this is a problem which your company is facing, and that is what is solved. And this is where the ideas of employees, which they may have had since the start of their job, or etc., whatever that thing is, that time period is, are actually realized. So it's very impactful. Employees love it. Management loves it. Love these events. Executives love these events. And so that is one definite very good way to start on your lean journey, on your lean office journey. And another way to start your journey is lean diagnostic. Now, if you are a company which knows about lean, which may have done an event or two, and you're saying, okay, so what impact can lean have? So this is, depending on your company size, this is 1 or 2 weeks long. And we lay out the levers. Is this the EBITDA you're worried about? Is this, what's the size of the prize? So if you are able to reduce cycle time by so much, you will be able to produce 50 more widgets. You're able to produce 50 more widgets can you sell that? If you can sell those 50 additional widgets a week, that's $100,000 each widget, and suddenly you see the numbers as to how, using the same number of people, the same resources, what's the size of the prize? What will you gain by doing these things? And then where is it in the HR department? Are people leaving the companies? People leave within 1 year. So now you have training costs for all employees. You have mentoring costs. You spend a lot of time. Quality issues happen with new employees, so on and so forth. So where is the biggest bang for the buck? Do we need to improve the HR processes? Do we need to improve the IT processes? All that stuff is determined in these 1 to 2 weeks. And if you improve the HR processes, you'll see an impact of $5 million. If you, depending on the company size, if you improve manufacturing processes, you will see a $10 million impact within the first, within the first year. In the sales organization, whatever that thing is, all these things are identified during a lean diagnostic, and that's where management, executives, and us come together and decide the lean journey of the lean office. So these are 2 ways, and over to Chad.
Thank you, Rishi. And we have our second polling question of the day. How would you like to start your lean office journey? Either A, Greenbelt, B, Kaizen event, or C, lean diagnostic. So if you select the answer on your screen and hit the submit button, your polling question will be recorded for today. I'll give you about 10 to 15 seconds to answer this one.
Thank you. And in the meanwhile, I will try and answer Deborah's question. Of course, we'll send you a detailed response as well. So Deborah, I think, lean is infectious. I mean, this is, once you start on a lean journey, through lean office, through Kaizen events, whatever it is, it's infectious. And so in our experience, we definitely start at implementing, lean at one place, but it catches on very, very quickly. I mean, people literally demand, why are we not doing a Kaizen event or implementing lean in our department, in our area, etc. So the question is it possible to look at implementing better processes without becoming a full-on culture of this with lean office? Absolutely. But what I'm stressing is that is absolutely, most of the companies begin, hey, let's start, this is the most problematic area, let's begin with that. But after that, it is almost impossible to hold people, hey, we want this in our, why are we being left out? And so, yes, absolutely possible to start that, but it's very difficult to stop it at that point.
Great, thank you, Rishi. And we'll advance on to the results here and check them out.
Oh, lean diagnostic, fantastic. So this is literally I mean, all these things are very low cost. I mean, low upfront cost. And I mean, it has never happened because even improving forms, the way people check clock in, clock out, the way forms can be improved. I mean, little small steps will uh, pay. You'll have an ROI multiple times of whatever little you invest, even in such things. And I'm using very simple examples, but reducing cycle times. I mean, this is pretty amazing. Thank you for that. I did expect the lean diagnostic to be the highest. I was expecting, well, both the other two are same. So the green belt, it was the next second I was expecting, but I mean, that is number two. And so thank you for that. Thank you for that feedback. We definitely use this data to improve services, respond to clients' needs, etc. So thank you for that. So why establish a lean office? I think this is critical. And I was in two minds whether the next two slides should be the first. Should we talk about those as the first slides or the last? And I guess that's what we decided on. And so this is a medical device company. This is about a 100-year-old company. And so CAGR, that's the growth of the company, compounded growth rate. And so what the graph is showing is in 2007, that's year one, they wanted to hire us to implement a lean office. To create the lean office in 2017 is when they actually implemented, they got us back, hey, we tried this on our own. Hey, why don't you help us out? And so in this case, once they started the lean, started on the lean office journey, their CAGR was 26%. Now for a 100-year-old company, this is a massive, massive improvement. Now, if you are a brand new company, maybe in the tech sector, my guess is your growth is 50%, 100%, year after year, etc. But for a company that has existed for 10 plus years or something which is 20 years, 30 years, this 26%, the growth from 11% to 26% is just massive. And what that means is, in financial terms, we were able to grow them from 200 million to 400 million, till, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not, without any additional people, without any additional buildings, without any additional equipment, etc. And so that's the power. So after 400 million to 700 million, that's when we needed to invest in capex and buildings and headcount and stuff like that. But simple examples. So what do we do? What does lean do? It helps you grow. I mean, this helps you grow without capex. It increases throughput without capex. It increases the people. It grows the people. It mentors the people without capex. People are the biggest asset of the company. That's what you want. That's why you want them to grow. And using that intellect is where the lean office comes in. And so if you're trying to, if you engage in a lean office kind of environment, other examples, now these are tactical examples, but throughput from 35 machines to 80 machines a month at one line. So I think the question about can we start this in one area? Absolutely. And without what was happening in 20 hours was now happening in 5 hours by eliminating that waste. And each machine in this case was $100,000. Approximately, with its features be 90,000 to 120,000. But the simple math in just one line, and what happened was, for 10 years, what they could not do, suddenly they did that in one line. And we went to 2 shifts, and then we multiplied that line to 300 machines a month. This is just one of the lines. And so this is why you should and you need to do to get to a lean office. So lean helps you grow. And the other thing lean does is it eliminates your headache. So this is a smaller company. This is 12 million in sales. And the plant manager, he actually fell down, in his dinner plate twice that year before he started interacting with us. And so they said the lead times, it was so bad that the internal salespeople, because of high lead times, they were giving work to competitors. And so again, these guys knew that, of course, if we can do all the work, we'll make so much money, we'll do this, do that, all that stuff, we can grow. So just by solving the problems of elimination of WIP, well, not elimination, but reduction of WIP, this freed up capital. I mean, this from 1.2 million, we were able to get them down to a WIP of 200 million. What that did was the lead time reduced from 6 weeks to 2 weeks, and all the external salespeople, yes, they got all the work inside, and sales went up from 12 million to 23 million. I mean, in 1 year. This is not, we're not talking about over 10 years and things like that. And we were called in the company because people, all, whether it's R&D, engineering, whether it is people on the floor, they're working 10 to 12 hours a day. And after getting to 23 million, they were working 5 to 6 hours a day. And we were called in to talk to people because management said the people are not believing us that nobody's going to be let go. And so we went in again and, hey guys, this is not about laying anyone off. This is about growing. And now it is sales. You see, I mean, you have been getting record sales month after month, and you guys did that. And so, lean off is done the right way. This is, this is the graph over 1 year. It solves your problems, it solves your headaches, and people want to work for your company. People never leave your company after that. And that's the beauty of lean. You're eliminating headaches, you're eliminating problems, you're increasing sales, everyone gets a bigger bonus, the company grows, whether you want to grow it organically, you have the money to buy equipment, buy other companies, etc. So question 3.
Thank you, Rishi. And our third polling question of the day, what is your experience with lean? A, heard about it, sounds intriguing. B, I have participated in a Kaizen event in the past. C, I have participated in several Kaizen events. D, I have drunk the Kool-Aid and want more Kaizen. So if you select your answer on your screen and hit the submit button, your polling question will be recorded. I'll give you about 15 seconds on this one.
So Justin, you have put in a question. What are some specific examples of lean in practice? We have seen a lot of what it can do. What is an example of an improvement? Okay, so absolutely I can. So, I mean, I know this is not a two-way street, but I mean, if you can, put in again that, what is your area, which area you work in? So I could probably, talk about examples in that area. Examples of improvements. Now I'm just got off my chair, getting excited. Apologies for that. So, if you're in IT, I don't know, what function you work in, but if you're in IT, how do you the response time to your tickets? How many tickets do you have in line? How do you manage that queue in a lean way, so that your tickets do not get delayed for 3 days, right? They are answered as and when they come in. If you're in HR, so last week and next week, I'm working on the onboarding experience. So how do you improve the onboarding experience? And that is not, how do people come in smiling, but how do you make sure, and of course, that is a big thing in HR as well. But what about, do they have everything what they need? Is the paperwork done by day one? Do they get introduced to the company? How do you do this? How do you do that? All those things. Their insurance, how was that taken care of in a timely fashion? Signing up for insurance. So if you are in manufacturing, cycle time reductions, how do you eliminate overtime? By eliminating waste. So in the example of the 20 hours to 5 hours, that example which I showed you, I'm not going to, I think it may mess up the presentation, but in that the CAGR graph I showed you, we mapped people looking for tools for so in the 20-hour cycle time, people were looking, lead time, people are looking for tools for 2 to 3 hours. We eliminated that by making sure everyone has a tool. And the same thing applies in the financial tools. You have the financial tools ready with you to make this happen. Then tools was one of the things. People were looking for going to the warehouse to get their stuff. Remember, the people is where the value is being created, right? Now, when they're going to the warehouse, they're finding their own parts. It's like that was about 3 or 4 hours of time wasted. And I'm using simple examples here, but I'll hand it over to Chad, and we can continue if you have time later. But finance accounting. Thank you, Justin. Over to Chad. Chad, yeah.
All right, and the results for the polling question. I'll let you continue on.
Oh, wow. I was expecting the fourth answer to be the highest, but that's not the case. You heard about it, sounds intriguing, absolutely. Please feel free to connect with us with whichever questions you have. We will definitely answer those. And so Justin says finance and accounting. So the interaction of finance with procure to pay, that was a very recent example we did. And how do you make the procure to pay process a lot more efficient? It has a lot of financial blessings in that process. It has the conversion of a PR, creation of a PR, and then the conversion of the PR to a PO. That was a big, people had put in ERPs, and that actually automated the wasteful process they had. And so that was definitely, the automation was not working at all because they had not improved the process, meaning eliminate the waste prior to automating that process. So procure to pay, which has a lot of financial intersections, has improved a lot using Lean. So I guess I'll answer, let me see how much time we have at the end, and I'll answer that question in more detail. So thank you for that. Please, you'll have our emails, phone numbers, etc. Please call us. We will answer all those questions. Whatever you're intrigued by, we'll make that happen. But this is really interesting. Thank you. So do's and don'ts. So the last client we were working with, he had some questions as, okay, they want to start a Lean office. And so what are the do's and don'ts? And so a lot of companies try to give their own spin instead of following the classic Lean. Some companies say we have the 5S program, and the 5S is the traditional, but our company is special. We'll do the 6S is the 5S, right? And so yes, the 6S, the 6 is safety. You may or may not know what 5S is, but the idea is, I think in my mind, if you follow the classic Lean, you will get the entire benefit. And I think by giving Lean or Lean Office your own spin, you are adding complications to your own process. Don't begin on your own. And this is something, it may sound like a selling thing, but Lean is not common sense. I mean, for example, everyone thinks batch production, whether you're batch producing the invoices, when you're paying the invoices, whether you're batch, paying invoices or batch producing parts, everyone thinks that's the best way instead of one piece flow. And we have seen a lot of companies, finance example, making a lot of mistakes when they're doing batch. And one of the clients actually lost $14 million because they were batch processing all the invoices. I mean, I'm not making this up. This is a company in Nevada. And so you definitely need that sensei to push you in the right direction. And so that is one advice I definitely have for everyone. And most of the companies think that Lean or Lean Office is for manufacturing only. No, not at all. If you do that in Lean and Office, you'll be a lot more successful. And so the next question this person had was, these questions are actually from about 3 months ago when we were interacting with one of our clients. And so he said that, hey, I don't have enough engineers to staff the Lean Office. So one, we are not looking for engineers to staff the Lean Office. And two, we are talking about internal hires. We're not talking about hiring more people for this office. Again, we're talking about waste elimination. So people will have time to work with this office, work in this office, and to get the desired result. And so, this is one thing which I really like. We were in discussion with the CEO of Southwest, and he said that we hire people with an attitude, and I was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "People with a good attitude." He said, "We can train people for anything, right? Good customer service, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But only if the people have a good attitude." And so, and I can, there's not enough time to share, other examples. But he said the attitude is what matters, and that is what I think. You don't need to be engineers, you don't need to be technically sound, you don't need to be, all that stuff. You don't need to be subject matter experts. If you have a good attitude, that's what we're looking for people to internal hires that would staff the lean office, and then that culture would spread throughout from there. Okay, so last question, Chad.
All right. Thank you, Rishi. And our fourth and final polling question of the day: when would you want to start your lean office journey? Either A, immediately, B, in 3 months, C, in 6 months, D, in 12 months, or E, never. So I'll give you about 10 to 15 seconds to answer this polling question. If you select the answer on your screen and hit the submit button, your polling question will be recorded.
And on my screen, I'm seeing, Donald, can you help with construction? Oh, absolutely. There's so much waste. Please email me, and I will. And there's a video of how to make a house in lean. I'll share that link to that video as well. But the amount of waste there is in all industries, not just construction, it's pretty amazing. The amount of cost you can take out from each construction, and what that does is not just cost. You can actually start making houses. And I do not know what construction does, what sector you are in, but just as a general thing, houses that take 9 months with traditionally can now take 3 months, and how your people can be more involved, and people can, absolutely. Construction is all industries, construction, absolutely massive. So back to Chad with the. I'm looking at my clock, so please email us, and Chad, yeah.
All right, Rishi, and we have the results for our fourth polling question.
Absolutely, okay. So the 80-20 rule applies here as well in 12 months, absolutely. So there's a no, and there's a the 80-20 rule applied here as well. It's good to see theory working, and so absolutely, guys. This is something which we believe should not. This is when you're getting results, literally the next Monday. This is something which we believe you definitely should start. You should. This is something which is part of your culture, which once you start, which it continues. So thank you for your participation. It's 2 minutes, and setting targets for your team. And this is, I think, the last slide. And what we talk about is lean is very counterintuitive, and that is why we say that you definitely need a sensei. And so most companies, I would say, on this call, they focus on productivity metrics. And I'm going to leave with, if you focus on velocity metrics, you'll be a lot more productive, and you'll attain all your goals. So with that said, over to Chad, and I think that's the last slide.
Yeah. Thank you, Rishi and Steve, for a great presentation today. If we didn't have time to answer your questions, we will do our best to follow up with you after the webcast. As a reminder, if you attended today's presentation in a group and would like to receive CPE credit, you must complete the group attendance sheet found in the slide deck and handouts window. If you participated as an individual and met all certification requirements, your certification is available for download now in the CPE progress window. I'll keep the webcast open for a few minutes to give you time to download your CPE certificate. A copy will be emailed to you within 3 weeks should you have any difficulty downloading it now. Here is a link to an online survey where you can provide feedback for today's presentation. Please take a moment to complete this survey, as your feedback is very important to us. Thank you all for joining us today, and we hope you join us again next time.